nothing else. You'll not get anything from the screens. I don't have, especially the, okay. So this is just the introductory slide, guys. This is just the introductory slide. Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Balaji and DTRAS Global for inviting me for this, wonderful seminar, webinar. And I'm very much impressed because, Dr. Balaji is committed for the webinars and seminars and for the awareness programs on every week. He's conducting one webinar every week. And that's, sometimes I am not able to conduct such things literally. So as Dr. Balaji was telling that I'm his inspiration, but he is actually my inspiration. And, the big people, how they say, how they, give that respect. So that's there. And I'm very much impressed because he's calling a lot of, experts, and many of them are, pioneer of their field. So I'm just a, kind of a student still, right? Because I'm learning from all of you. I'm learning from my colleagues, Dr. Balaji, like Dr. Balaji, and there are many more. But if you come to my, things, as Dr. Balaji said, right now I'm working at Kasturba Medical College, Manipal as Scientist C for ICMR, and I'm also running CleanMed Research Solutions, which is based in Gurgaon and Gurgaon, Haryana, and Hyderabad. And I'm also serving as the second term for second term as National Director for Research at World Youth Heart Federation India, which is completely dedicated to the people and to the India to reduce the cardiovascular mortality, and we have that place that will be helping in reducing the cardiovascular mortality by 30% by 2030 in WYHF, right? So let me come to the topic. Let's not go away from the topic. So today's topic is very interesting. And I'll say the topic which made me right now whatever I am. Okay, registry studies. So when I was finishing my post graduation from Kasturba Medical College, Manipal, so I got a chance to we all are posted in different settings, different departments. So I was in cardiology department, and I saw that there is a lot of need for the research, and we can do multiple things. And then I have discussed with my ex-boss, with whom I have done my PhD, and then the HOD cardiology, Dr. Tom Devasi, we have discussed about something to do in cardiology. So we came to the conclusion that we should start some kind of registries, and that should be in the heart failure, because that time there was no registries in cardiology at all. Some small, institutional level registries were going on, right? So we came up with that idea, and we submitted that proposal of heart failure registry. And our, literally you won't believe that only with Manipal settings. Manipal settings means all the Manipal hospitals, including Manipal and Bangalore, and Delhi Hospital, and Hassan and Karkala and Udupi, all the hospitals, whatever comes in our range, whatever comes in our definitely I'll say that it was also the institutional based, but that has multiple wings to open and get the patients and gather the information and collect the things whatever is needed in the registry, right? So we started the registry, and we started writing the proposal first, and then we submitted that proposal to multiple sponsors like ICMR, CSIR, and some private companies as well, pharmaceutical industry like Novartis, and Servier was there, and about. So you won't believe we have submitted for 6 organizations, and we got the funding acceptance from the 3. Okay. Registry studies. I'll come to a registry studies, and I'll explain one by one everything. What is a registry study? How we should do? What we should do? And how it is impactful, and what exactly we have to do. Right? Everything I'll be explaining. But so the background is that we got 96 lakh rupees funds from the Novartis just for the registry studies, because there are no registry studies in India. Even right now, only a few diseases have the registry studies. If you see, I'll give you an example of United Kingdom. I'll give you an example of USA. you will be seeing they have their own very own government databases, right? US has NIH, right? National Institute of Health, where you will get all the health records of each and everyone who is living in the United States, who is the citizen of United States. They maintain all the records, and then that record is being used for research. That record is being used for analysis. That record is being used for government foundations, government funds, government budgets, everything, health budgets and all, everything is being settled by that. United Kingdom has own NH, right? So I mean, they have their bigger libraries, they have their bigger own databases, and if I say in the different words, those are the disease registries, right? Those are the registries where they have the databases of every
Yeah. Just wait for a few minutes because it's heavily raining down here in Manipal. So there might be a power issue. Yeah.
Yes. It is heavily raining here, and I lost the connectivity. I lost the connectivity also. Hi guys, I'm back. I'm back. Am I audible now, Dr. Balaji?
Yes, audible. Perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just came back because here suddenly the electricity gone down and got I lost the connections. Okay, I'm so sorry. But it's heavily raining just started. Okay. Okay, no worries. So I was talking about my registry. So that's how we started the registry, right? That's how we started the registry that time, and under the funds of Novartis, right? So let me now share my screen and let me show you what exactly is the registry, how we should do the registries, and how exactly we can conduct, why we need those registries, what is the importance of registries. So before that again I want to show you one of my paper. Okay, so which even I have published that time. I think let me share my entire screen only. Why I'm not able to share? Okay, so this is the this is the letter to editor. This was the paper what I have published in 2016 in the starting of my PhD. Because you won't believe, there was no registry studies in India that time in the cardiology. Okay, very few were there. Right now Indian government has moved multiple bills and multiple funds for the registry studies in cancer, registry studies in AIDS, registry studies in tuberculosis, and there are multiple things which are going on from the government side also. And after that, there are multiple things which are being done by the other institutions like PHFI, Public Health Foundation of India, and ICMR. They have started multiple registries for different diseases. So that time there was literally a lack in India for cardiology and registry studies related to the cardiology. So we have published this letter also, in Journal of Cardiovascular Disease and Research. That was registry studies, registry disease studies in cardiology in India, the need of the hour. Okay, that was just a letter, and it was published by my team only, Dr. Tom, Dr. Yaswant Rao, and my entire team has they felt like, okay, registry studies must be done in India and we should do something which is craziest. And we got the funds, we got the huge funds, so we had that the boost in ourselves to show up and to convey the regards and convey the message to everyone that they also have to start something like this, and they have to present the things in front of everyone. So let me share the things here. Okay. What's there here? I'm not able to share. Let me share the full screen only. Okay, so here let's see, and let's start. So first of all, I'll come up with this. So what exactly is the registry study? Okay, so registry studies are, registry studies are more often called for the diseases. These are the clinical registries. These are the clinical studies which are related to the patient, either the patient or particular disease. Okay, disease means when I'm talking about the patient, that must be belonging to a particular disease, right? Maybe from the hypertension, heart attack, or myocardial infarction, what we say, or heart failure, or maybe from the rheumatoid arthritis, from any kind of like infections or tuberculosis, long-term infections, HIV, or whatever, So when I'm talking about the registry is nothing but, first of all, it should meet these criteria. First of all, this must be the observational. Okay, observational study type. So you do not have to intervene anything. You are not putting any kind of intervention with the patients. This is the 100% observational study, which is collecting the data regarding the disease. Okay, data regarding the disease from the patients. And when I'm talking about the data, it must be collecting the entire data. Okay, entire data is what? Entire data is from the presentation to the end outcome, right? From the presentation to the outcome, whatever, and whatever time or however we are observing the patients, we are getting through the course of the patient, we have to record that, we have to show that. So registry studies is not something like where you have to go for the randomization, where you have to go for the blinding, where you have to go for the different arms, or where you have to get the case and control, where you have to go for the cohort or something. Registry studies are one of the most simplest studies, where you just have to observe the patients either retrospectively or sometimes prospectively also. There are two types of the registry studies which you can do. Is one is retrospectively, what is done with the patient's records. Okay, you are not following the patients prospectively. And the second is prospective. Okay, so prospective means if the patient is patient is there in the hospital and you are collecting the data from that, right? So these are the observational studies which are collecting the entire clinical characteristics and the data which is relevant to outcomes from all the patients, or from a patient belongs to a particular disease. Okay, that is the registry study. Suppose I'm starting a heart failure registry study. So what I'll do is I'll go to the patient. I'll go to the patients which are belonging to the heart failure, right? Heart failure, either category, any of the category of heart failure, maybe heart failure with there are three types of the heart failure based on their ejection fraction type. Based on the ejection fraction, we have the three types of heart failure. So when I'm talking about entire data, when I'm talking about registry, and when I'm talking about heart failure, I have to include everything. Okay, I have to include everything. Okay, so before we go to the parameter, let's this is the definition we talked about. Okay, this is we talked about the definition, right? And now let's talk about the parameters what we have to observe in the patient. So first of all, you guys are definitely from either the medical or from pharma or from healthcare sciences, so you know what kind of data. And let's not go to the data right now. I'll just simply tell you, just look at the patient, how he is behaving. So suppose there is a patient. Okay, there is a patient who will come to the hospital, right? Who will come to the hospital to see the clinician, right? So how he will come, the mode, how he will come to the hospital, maybe either from the ambulance, maybe from his own vehicle, maybe from the public vehicle. Okay, and then where he will reach, again I'll say three things. One is OPD, one is emergency room, one is inpatient. Okay, or to the directly he is getting admitted by referrals, right? So there are usually three modes, right? Absolutely three, correct? So either the patient is coming to the OPD, or coming to the emergency room, or maybe referred to the IPD directly, right? And why I'm telling that, we are starting the patient. First of all, when the patient is coming, we have to take all about how he is reaching the patient, or how he is reaching the hospital, because everything correlates. When I'm talking about registry, everything correlates. Okay, focus guys, everything is correlating here, because see, if the patient is coming with the ambulance, he must be having all the resources with this, like oxygen. And when he's coming with the when he's coming in the ambulance, that patient is either very critical or severe, or he may need these resources. So this implicates directly, this directly tell us that okay, there is something severe and the patient needs such resources. So this will definitely that means the patient is either maybe the cab or his personal vehicle, but not coming in the public vehicle, means okay, maybe there are he's saving some time, and he can save some time if he's coming with that. There is no urgency, but yes, he wants to reach the hospital early. And when it talks about the public, okay, when it talks about the public vehicle, that means okay, public, I mean the patient is not in emergency, or patient is not having the resources. So these three things also tells about the patient's resources. Okay, these three things also talk about the patient's resources, what category the patient belongs to. If in ambulance, maybe it's a severe thing, but if the public transport or the personal transport, then it tells us about the economic, socio-economic status of the patient. It tells us about how the patient can afford, what the patient can afford. Okay, affordability, right? So we can assume multiple things about the treatment pattern, what we are going to do, what we are deciding about the patients, what kind of procedures we can do, right? So everything, whatever is having, whatever is going on with the patient, that all makes a sense, that all make a sense, and that sense is giving the perfect flavor to the registries. Because registry is not just the observations. Okay, if you think I can start, anyone can start the registry, definitely they can start, and they can collect the data. They can collect the data firmly, they can collect the data, but they cannot get that flavor when they are analyzing, when they are thinking, the thought process. That is very important when we are getting a registry done. I'll come to that, why we need registry. Okay, now your patient is there. Okay, now your patient is there in the hospital. So after these things, first thing will be done, what? Like, what is the clinical presentation of the patient, like how the patient has come. Suppose one patient, he has come with the like suppose opioid poisonings, like maybe some other patient is, I'm just giving you the scenarios. When you are observing the patient, when you are getting the observations, there are multiple types of patients. So clinical presentations, how the patient has presented to the hospital, what was the history, maybe opium presentation, maybe alcohol consumption, or maybe snake bite, or maybe exacerbation of asthma, or exacerbation of COPD or heart failure, anything it could be, right? So when I'm talking about clinical presentation, based on the history and based on the current presentation, you will be assessing the patients for physical examination, by physical examination, clinical examinations, and you will be observing the patients, how the patient is responding, response, right? These three things. So these three things again will help you assessing the outcome, right? These three things will help you assessing the outcome, and these three things will tell you like what will be the exact course of investigations, what will be the exact course of treatment, what will be the exact course of prognosis in this patient, right? These things you are working on right now, right? And you are collecting the entire data. Collecting the entire data means, when I'm talking about, see, let's go back to the things like transport only I'm talking about. So in transport, if I when I was doing registry, what I was observing, what I was observing when we are talking about the transport, this not only the transport, but how many hours the patient took from the home, or from the referral hospital, or from the site to reach the hospital. Because that time is very crucial in severity. That time is very crucial when the patient is really getting through the tough situation, and there are the very high risk factors as well. So that time impacts the outcomes. You won't believe, I'll tell you one of my observation in my registry. So the patient who were coming to the emergency room or casualty, from the casualty, they usually take 15 to 20 minutes to reach the catheterization lab, where we usually perform the angioplasty or angiography, or whatever cath related techniques or whatever cath related treatments we are doing with the MI patients, right? So what I observed is the mortality was related with more than 2 hours of the time when it was taken to shift the patient from emergency room to the cath lab. For the first time, when the patient is coming with AWMI, like anterior wall MI, or the ACS, and patient took less than, I divided into less than 2 hours and more than 2 hours. So whoever taken the less time, they survived more and they survived well. Okay, and whoever took more time, like more than 2 hours, the highest mortality they shown, because they have deteriorated the time. And what were the factors? What were the factors? Why I'm telling you, because these are all important factors to show and important factors to observe and document when you are talking about a registry. What was that? What were the risk factors? Like sometimes the lift was full. Okay, sometimes lift was delayed, sometimes liftman was not there, sometimes akka, whoever the helping person was not available, helping person reached 20 minutes late to the emergency room to shift the patient to cath lab, right? Sometimes the duty doctor was not available to accompany the patient to the cath lab. Sometimes they were busy in another patient. So every aspect was important, and every aspect was important to document, and that was important to observe, right? That was important to observe. And then once the patient is there, what was the first thing you have done? Investigation. After clinical things, investigations. Okay, investigations. So investigations is not only if you are talking about biochemical, biomarkers, or x-rays, or MRI, whatever the radiology is. It is all about the history taking also. It is all about the history taking also, like what is the social habits, what is the the family history, what is the personal history, personal medicine, medical history, personal medications, or any previous surgery, right? These all things we have to take into the consideration. We all have to take into the consideration, we take into the consideration, right? And why these are important? Because these are directly correlating with the outcomes. These are directly correlating with the things what we are going to assess, and how we are going to proceed with the treatment, right? And then whatever initially we are coming up with the provisional diagnosis. Okay, provisional diagnosis, right? And then after the provisional diagnosis, whatever medications we are starting, in the medication categories are there, like disease, whatever medications we are giving for the symptomatic relief, whatever we are giving to revert the disease, right? So, or whatever we are giving for the long term, right? And whatever was the BP, heart rate, anything, right? So I'm just telling you, have to observe everything. You won't believe, in my registry, when I was doing, I had 581 variables. 581 variables. Let me tell you what is variable. Variable means the information type, whatever information type you are collecting about the patient. Okay, like first of all, your hospital number or identification, then your demographics, like the name of the patient is not to disclose, but yes, you need to identify the patients with the name of the patient. Okay, and then about their family and their addresses, from where they are belonging. If they are, that is also important, because if they are belonging to rural area, if they are belonging to the urban area, how they are accessible to medicines, how they are accessible to hospital, how they are reaching the hospital and all. Then about their anthropometric details, medication history. Okay, medication history, and the surgical history, social habits. Okay, multiple things. So, and then the diagnostic tools, whatever diagnostic tools, if, and then comorbidities, complications of the disease. I mean, there are everything and all type of medications, there are doses, okay, and related to outcomes also. What would be the outcomes? Outcomes means if the patient is survived, if the patient is died in the hospital, okay, if the patient got long-term hospitalization, and after the patient gone home, how they have how frequently they have visited the hospital, right? So what was their hospital visits or doctors visits, everything, so I had around 581 variables in registry. So that was the thing, when we present to some funders, why it's important to go and check everything. Suppose I'm applying for the funds for the registry in suppose diabetes. Right now I'm working on the diabetic registry, which is going on and which is headed by the AIMS and ICMR. Right, I'm working as a scientist C for ICMR, but especially on a very specific mission which has been started by ICMR in 2008, that is young diabetes registry. Okay, young diabetic registry. Okay, registry. So that is YDR. Okay, YDR. Now phase 3 is going on. Okay, phase 3 going on. So what is the inclusion criteria? Inclusion criteria is very specific. They are taking the patients who are less than 25 years of the age. Okay, and having diabetes mellitus, any kind of diabetes. I mean, any kind of diabetes, any type of diabetes. So why they are doing this registry? They can map anything, but why they are spending almost you won't believe that almost 100 million INR. Okay, 100 million INR annually. This is the annual rate, 10 crore rupees, 10 CR annually ICMR is spending only on YDR registry. They are not giving any medicines, they are not doing nothing. Okay, they are just collecting the data of these patients. Why they are collecting the data? Okay, you got to know what is registry studies. You got to know what we have to observe, everything whatever is there. But why they are doing, why I did that, that is the point. This is the example why government is spending a lot, almost 10 crore rupees per annum per year. Why they're spending since 2008, and in last 15 years, 2013, right, 2003, I mean 2008 to 2023, 15 years, right? So 150 CR rupees they have spent already, and in 150 CR rupees, how many patients they got? You will not believe, only 26,000. Only 26,000 patients they have gathered the information of. The question here is why they are just spending this much money. Why they are just spending this much money to gather the information only. Their social history, their family history, their the medications, their food habits, their what they are eating, what are their FBS, GlyHB, and whatever are the medications being given by the doctors at different centers. Because see, I'll tell you now, our mission is to understand why we do registry. Okay, why we do registry, what is the importance of registry. Okay, what is the importance of registry, right? So anyone, anything why we can do the registries, why we are doing the registries. Okay, so let me tell you, can I see the audience answers somewhere?
If they type, they can type it, they can chat in the chat box. You can see it. If they are typing it, you can see it. Yeah.
Where is that exactly? Okay.
There's a chat box at the top.
Okay. I'm getting it. I think.
Yeah. If you can ask some questions, let them type and you can see that. Yeah.
I'm just asking what are the importance they feel like, why government is spending so much money on diabetic registry, and why we did this, why Novartis got me 96 lakh rupees to collect only 1,000 of the heart failure students. I mean, sorry, heart failure patients. Can someone tell me?
Go ahead, guys, please. Let's make it a little bit engaging. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. See, if I'm talking about registry studies, I told you what is the history. Collecting the data, simple. You can go and you can also collect the data. But why? Why we should do that? Why government is so much interested to spend, thousands of the crore? Or why companies are very much interested to get 1000 patients, only the data of 1000 patients without any intervention, and they are giving 96 lakh rupees or 1 crore. And you won't believe, guys, my registry studies is still going on, and till now I lent almost 2.5 crore rupees from Novartis, and till now we have gathered the information of almost nothing but 2600 patients. 2600 patients. So you won't believe, one patient is around, if nothing but 10,000 rupees. To get the trend of disease and management, absolutely good thing. Yes, I agree. Anyone else? For further drug discovery, perfectly fine. Yes. Okay, so let me tell you guys, let me come back, let me share the screen. So let me tell you one thing. First thing is when I'm talking about why we do the registry studies, need to get the first-hand data about the patient and disease. Data is one of the precious thing. Data is one of the precious thing in clinical side. In the hospitals, India has the data of almost 150 million patients, right? India has the data of 150 million patients, and we can establish any kind of research, any kind of outcome-based results, outcome-based results. We can make any kind of policy. We can make any kind of guidelines, right? We can make any kind of, let me show you more, any kind of, we can decide any kind of health budgets. Okay, budgets. We can do any kind of health economic estimation. Okay, estimations just based on this data, because registry studies are not just about the disease or the patient. When I'm talking about the disease and the patient, we are also talking about economic burden of the disease. Okay, economic burden, health related quality of life, right? QOL. We are talking about the healthcare resources utilization. If you have heard of pharmaceutical people, understand more. Healthcare resources utilization, right? We have to observe this also. See, when I'm talking about heart failure and the patient came to the hospital, how many ECGs were done in the course of 6 days of hospitalization? 15 ECGs. How many echoes were done? 5 echoes. How many MRIs were done? 2 MRIs. How many, some small procedures were done? 5. What is this? How many days the patient was in ICU? 6 days. How many days he was on the simple bed? 2 days. So what is this? This is the economic burden. This is the health related resources utilization, right? When I'm talking about the medicines used, I'm talking about oxygen consumption. If I'm talking about the bed consumptions, if I'm talking about the patient caregiver who is staying with it, who is staying with him or her, with the patient, how much he is spending, everything gives an estimation. Everything is related to the patient, everything is related to the disease. So economic burden, health related resource utilization, health related quality of life, course of disease, course of prognosis, everything you are getting, right? So from the data you can do a lot of things. You can make policies, you can make guidelines, you can make health budgets, health economic extensions, and then you can do very important thing as mentioned here, the drug discovery. Because when we are collecting a lot of data, we get the need of medicines, we get the budget friendly medicines. Okay, what is the burden they can, what is the burden they can do. Okay, and we get to know what kind of resources we need, right, from these studies, from these registry studies. So registry studies has a lot of expense, a lot of roles, and lot of key importance in the healthcare system, right? That's why you won't believe that India has many of the data, but no one is doing, because our clinicians are busy doing their practice, our students do not know how to do the perfect research, and academicians are just behind. Let me clearly say it, I have no hesitation in saying that people are busy in their personal engagements, in their personal agendas, like getting funds and getting the promotions and getting there and where, but they are not looking at the research. India has thousands of data. Why Novartis sitting in Australia is giving me 96 lakhs or 1 crore or 2.5 crore just to get 2600 patients? What's the agenda? Suppose, let me tell you guys very clearly. See, Novartis company is sitting in Australia, headquarter in Australia. Okay, they are giving me 2.5 CR to get 2600 patients data, right? So they are giving me almost 10,000 rupees per patient. Okay, almost 10,000 rupees per patient. What they are getting? They are just getting the info. If I think, in normal ways, I'm just giving them the info. But what they can do with this info? What they can do with this info? See, when suppose, see, now the government rule, DCGI rules are there. If some drugs, if let me come up with some other color. If some drug is discovered, is discovered in UK or USA or European Union or Australia or anywhere in the world, they have to conduct at least phase 3 trials in India before entering into the Indian market. Okay, before entering into the Indian market, or until and unless they have not, until and unless they have done some research in Indian patients. Okay, so conducting a phase 3 trial in Indian patients, Indian scenario, will cost them a lot. Okay, so what they do is, initially they are gathering the information from Indian scenarios, from Indian patients, from different sites, and they are analyzing this data, and they are analyzing what exactly the Indian population need. Okay, what exactly the Indian population needs in the in the drugs, in the healthcare resources, in the for the healthcare quality of life, or for whatever is related to their health. They are coming up with different apps, they are coming up with different population based activities. Why? Because they are analyzing our data through registries, through the studies they are conducting in India. Okay, so registry studies are important to pave the path for the future clinical trials. Okay, so it is like that. If I'm talking about registry, then it leads to the, like, it's a kind of pilot study. Pilot study in the larger population. Okay, larger population. Okay, larger population, and it is leading to the clinical trials for medicines. It is leading to the policies. It is leading to the guidelines. That's why registry studies are very important. Okay, now how to conduct it is a simple process. It's a simple process. First of all, you have to get the question. Okay, let's talk about the research also. Okay, now you got the importance about the registries, why we should do, how we should do, how these are important, and what's the definition, what kind of data we have to collect. But how to get it? First of all, think of, like, in which field registries have not been done yet. Okay, on the maybe the national level, or the multi-centric level, or maybe the centric, like suppose some registry has been done in AIMS Delhi. So I have the full right to conduct that same registry or same data collection in South India, because we have multiple differences in our population from North India. We have multiple differences. If something has been done in UK or US, Indians have full right to do the registry, because we have different food habits, we have different we have different food habits, we have different geographical conditions, we have different environmental factors, we have different pathophysiology of the patients, we have totally different, we have total cultural differences between us and UK people. So that means we are understanding our population. Okay, we are understanding our population, so we have to find out first in which area we have the gap. Gap means like in which disease we have not been conducting the registry, if it is going on, then if it is multi-centric or single centric, okay, if they are following up the patients or not. So I mean, gaps you can find in different ways, if it is done or not, first of all. Then the patient types, if it is if they are following up the patients or not for long term, and what data they are collecting and what data they are not collecting, you can add on to that data and you can make your own registry. So first of all, you need to find out the gap, you need to find out the gap of the registry, okay, gap of the research, and you can start your own registry in that. So first of all, find out the question. Find out the question means there are multiple methods, because methods is there, which is very important to understand, and which usually everyone takes into consideration when they are deciding the question, or they are deciding the aim or objective of the any kind of any kind of research, not only the registry. So first they have to define about the population, what kind of population they are including. Inclusion and exclusion criteria is nothing but about the population, okay. And then they are talking about the intervention, if there is any kind of intervention, or what kind of so in registry studies I does not work, right? And then C for comparison. See, comparison is in registry studies. Comparison either you can do with, do between genders, do between states, do between, the pathophysiological condition, do between comorbidities. Multiple, you can do it later, but initially you don't have to define the comparison, or control. You don't have to define, but you can define the data what you are going to compare later, right? In your own population only, right? And then outcomes. Important thing in the registries is outcomes, like if the patient is dying, if the patient is surviving, if they are visiting the hospital, if they are having permanent comorbidity, mortality, anything, whatever it could be there, okay, whatever it could be there, you just have to define that, you just have to find out that, and you can go with the question. Now the thing is, importantly, you have to get the ethical consideration, okay. Ethical approval is very important, okay. Ethical approval is very important, right? So before starting the registry study, take the ethical approval. And in India, one more thing, when you are starting a registry, ethical approval along with CTRI approval, okay. CTRI is nothing but the Clinical Trial Registry of India. Let me write it for you. Clinical Trial Registry of India, okay. So you have to register your registry project here in CTRI website, and they take almost 1 month to 3 months to get the approval. But this approval you can get only after the ethical approval, because you have to submit the ethical approval to the CTRI. Once CTRI approves, you can start collecting the data. Okay, you can start collecting the data. So to collect the data, you should have the perfect format. You should have the perfect format that we usually, you must be knowing that we call it CRF, right? We call it CRF, case report form. Case report form is nothing but your entire things must be there, whatever you are going to collect, the anthropometric details or whatever details you are collecting, everything should be there. My case report form, for the baseline was 6 pages, okay. 6 pages form for one patient data collection used to take around an hour to 1.5 hours, okay. One patient's data collection used to take 1 to 1.5 hours. It still takes around 45 minutes, because now we are expert, my team is perfectly expert, they are working for us for last 4-5 years, 6 years, so they're perfectly fine, they're expert, right? And then follow up, if you are following up, then follow up CRF will be there, okay. Now the thing is very important here. There are two type of things and very important thing for the registries. Database. Okay. If you are conducting a larger registry, you need to have your own database. Okay. Own database means the website. Okay. Website of your college, website of your registry must be there where you have to enter the data, and data must be properly properly managed. Okay. Properly managed, we call it clinical trial data management, CDM. So your data must be managed properly, because when you are taking the permissions from CTRI and we are taking the permissions from approval authorities, ethical authorities, they look into the data security, they look into the data anonymity, they look into the data if it is correct or not. Okay, then only you can get the analyze later, right? So you have to be very careful when you are collecting the data. So registry studies are very important, very easy to say, but there are a lot of tricks and techniques and a lot of things to be careful and keep in mind when you're registering the when you are conducting the clinical registries, right? And then analysis. While doing the analysis, you have collected the data perfectly fine, no problem. Okay, but when you are analyzing the data, you cannot just simply analyze for the descriptives. You have all the descriptives. If I say all the descriptives, how many males, how many females, what are the comorbidities, what's the percentage of comorbidities, what's the percentage of complications, what is the how many health resource utilizations was done, or how many resources were used, what was the number of ECGs equals, whatever, you can get the descriptive studies done, you can get the descriptive results. But registries does not mean the descriptive. Your main part, your main thought process, if you're conducting a registry study, starts in the analysis. I mean, that must be there when you are thinking of the registry, when you are planning the registry. But major part comes here when you are analyzing the data. Okay, analyzing the data means you have to get the things done properly. You have to correlate everything. You have to correlate why the patient came late and how it is impacting the outcome. If the patient came to IPD, OPD, how it is impacting the outcome. If there is any mortality differentiation, if any any course of treatment is different in the patients who came to OPD and IPD, because the severity must be different, right? And you have to think of like if any difference in the healthcare resource utilization, the patient reached early or late to the hospital or to the doctor, right? So you have to think of everything. You have to put your brain in analysis, and you have to come up with lot of new observations, and you will be definitely coming when you are conducting an when you are conducting an registry. I'm telling you, you will get 100 new observations, hundreds of new observations. Okay, when you are conducting a clinical trial, you will get only one or two or three major observations which are belonging to your objectives. Okay, definitely those will be breakthrough. But when you are conducting a registry, you will be getting 100 breakthroughs. That's my guarantee, guys. That's my guarantee. Okay, and one registry, you can publish hundreds of papers also. Each breakthrough, you can publish the paper. You can, semi-analysis, half analysis, or, subgroup analysis, multiple types of analysis, multiple types of observations, multiple types of results, and you can get that done easily. And believe me, guys, I'll end, because I can stretch for 2 hours, 3 hours when I'm talking about registry, but I'm briefing everything. Otherwise, if I go to the parameters, data collection, importance, everything, it will take 2 to 3 hours to describe. But let me tell you one thing. See, I have completed my PhD on heart failure registry. Okay. I left Manipal for a year in 2018-19 to start my company, and you won't believe that is not just to start my company, but I was not fitting into Manipal's criteria because I was starting the company CleMed. So they told like either your company or your job at Manipal. They have strict rules. I mean, that's the good policy, definitely. If they want to retain their employees, they need to do that, right? That was the strict policy. I left it. But frankly, I didn't want to leave Manipal. Manipal is like my heart. Literally, I'm telling you. So Manipal, I didn't want to move from the Manipal, but because I had to start my company in Hyderabad, the corporate office, I had to establish and everything. And there was the Manipal rule, so I had to leave. But now the catch is because of my registry only, Manipal Heart Failure Registry, that time it was published in, multiple papers were published in ESC, European Society of Cardiology, with impact factor 13.5, 16.7 and all. Okay, multiple papers. So I was a recognized person that time for the registries in India. I mean, still I am, but that time I was rising in the clinical registries. So I got the invitation directly from the ICMR. Invitation. They can, they usually open up the vacancies and all, and they invited me to join as research associate 3 that time. I told I'm not interested. Then they offered research scientist B position, and they told we will definitely promote you. You come to Delhi, and they were ready to hand over the entire registry because I had the experience. I had published multiple things without interview, guys. I'm telling you, that's the power of your expertise in something new. I am having the expertise in registries. Okay, so registry studies have a big power. So they told we have started this in 2008. Now we are starting the phase 3. Come and take over. I told no. I want to do in Manipal. If you have something, tell me in South India and Manipal especially. They told no worries. So in India they have around 212 sites right now, ICMR, for diabetic registry. Okay, diabetic registry, they have 212 sites, and then they had 200 exact sites that time. Okay, and 9 CC, collaborating centers. Collaborating center is what? Collaborating center is like these 9 centers in the across the country are handling these 200 sites. So around 20 reporting centers will be, 20 reporting centers will be sending their data and working under 1 CC, right? So they established the 10th CC in Manipal for me, and under that right now 12 hospitals I'm working for. 12 hospitals are working for us under my observation in entire coastal Karnataka, including the Mangalore hospitals, AJ, Yenapoya, Father Muller, and these Nitte, Justice K. Segre, and KMC Manipal, KMC Mangalore, Udupi, everyone. We are collecting the data from those under my observations, under my CC. And then I told I am running my company. Okay, they told no problem, go for it. I told I want Manipal. They told go for it. I told Manipal will object. They told no worries. They gave me the independent payroll from ICMR. They sent the money to Manipal, but they are like, go ahead. We will take care of everything just because of my expertise in registry. And that is the power of registry, I'm telling you. When you are expert of something, when you get registry is not an easy work, guys. Registry is not an easy work. What are the challenges in registries? I'll tell you. First of all, collection of the entire data. You don't have time, you don't have resources to do that. Okay, how to manage this? How to manage the funds? How to manage the data entry in the registry? Okay, into the database. How to manage that analysis part, subgroup analysis and everything. You should be expert of all. Okay, and then how to make policy out of data. That depends on your thought process. And major challenge here is how to retain your patient. Suppose you got 1000 patient in one registry and you are following up for 3 years. How will you retain those patients? How will you collect the 1000 patients data for 3 years? Is it possible? Like if you conduct the registry, you are getting all the 1000 patients for 3 years? No. ICMR, believe me or not, ICMR has the retention rate somewhere around 10 to 30%. And since I have joined, my my site is giving 60% of the retention rate of the patients for diabetes. So that expertise they need. How to manage, you have to call them, you have to call to the hospital, their email IDs, their personal call, secretary call. I mean, there are multiple things you have to do, and you have to put your brain in. So registry studies are very important, very, very important if they are done perfectly, if they are analyzed perfectly, and they can give a lot of things, lot of fish to you, lot of fish to the the government policies, institution, and lot of reputation, lot of money, and you can enjoy, you can have the fun in life with registry study. That's my with that I'll summarize. And guys, if you want to contact us, you can just contact me anytime at clemed.in. Okay, SUPPORT, and you can just check my Insta or LinkedIn if you want to connect with me. So with that, I would like to thank Dr. Balaji again, and thank DTrust Global for inviting me, guys. And now I am open for your questions. The floor is open for your questions. Anyone? Yes, Dr. Balaji. Okay, so I'll take the questions by the time you guys can tell me your questions, if anything, if any questions you want to talk, if you want to say. Anyone has the questions?
Hello, sir. This is Dr. Prashant.
Hi, Dr. Prashant. Please tell me.
So basically, I'm myself into pharmacovigilance.
Okay, sir.
So I would like to have an understanding as what is the big difference between the registry and pharmacovigilance aspects. After your session, I could understand is like registry works on the pre-clinical trials of the drug, or how is it?
No, see, registries are definitely kind of a pilot, I will say, and registries are kind of the studies which are giving the entire data about the patient. Okay, so one thing is we can understand if we are collecting the data, if we are doing a registry before conducting the clinical trial, right? So we have our set of data sets to collect. Okay, set of data to collect from the patients, right? And if we are conducting a post-marketing, if we are conducting a post-marketing registry, then we have the different data set to collect. And if we are conducting, when you are talking about the pharmacovigilance, we have different data set to collect from the patients, right? So data set is something which define the different the registry studies as well. So suppose I'm conducting a registry study before conducting the clinical trial for heart failure, some drugs. So I want to know about the exact social habits, about exact history of the patient's family history, and like about the population, about their demographics, from where they're coming to this hospital, and what type of patients I'll get from the rural or from the urban, what kind of education is there for the patients, and what kind of drug knowledge is there in the patients. So those everything I'll be getting from the registry, right? And then based on that data, I can frame my clinical trial. Okay, I can frame my clinical trial. When I'm talking about a post-marketing registry, then what I'll do is already one drug has been launched and certain population is taking. So I'll take that population who is taking, I mean, all the patients who are taking those drugs, right? And then I'll be collecting all the data. Collecting all the data means again the demographics, anthropometrics, whatever the disease was there, comorbidities, everything. And then specifically my data, I mean, my focus will be on the data of the drugs and the outcomes and the patient related factors, risk factors, or the comorbid conditions or the confounding factors which can lead to the either maybe the side effects of the drug or maybe the mortality related to the drug or whatever I'm looking for. Okay, so I will get the data and I'll be thinking of the post marketing aspects of the drug. when I'm talking about the pharmacovigilance type, right? So pharmacovigilance is also similar kind of things. I'm looking for something which is happening in certain clinical trials or certain after giving certain drugs to the patients, right? So those data collection will be helping me analyzing the exact impact, efficacy, side effect profile, or adverse events, or whatever is there. I'll be getting the information regarding that, and I'll be establishing the connections, associations, correlations, whatever I'm looking for through that data. So it depends. If I'm conducting the simple without any target, literally one registry, what I did was without any kind of target, like I'm not looking for pharmacovigilance, I'm not looking for post-marketing, I'm not looking for any clinical trial, I'm just doing it, and I want to know what are the things, how are the factors correlating. So I came to know, the patients who are reaching with the ambulance are getting proper care. The patients who are getting, who are reaching with the ambulance, they are, surviving more. And who are reaching to the cath lab late, they are dying more. Their in hospital mortality is more, right? And they are using the more healthcare resources utilization. They are, consuming, they are consuming the more oxygens. So that kind of things comes when you put your head, when you think of like, okay, what could correlate with all the things? What are the healthcare resources utilization? Who are living more? Who are having the good quality of life later? Either the diastolic heart failure, systolic heart failure, or maybe the based on the ejection fraction, whatever you are looking for, that you have to think of clearly. Your thought process must work like what exactly you are looking for, or if you are not looking for, then what exactly you can get, right? So it will decide your path of the registry. Dr.
Yeah, I can add a point here, Dr. Ajit, for
yes, sure.
Prasanna's question. See, Dr. Prasanna, what happens is in pharmacovigilance, where registries might be helpful is, let's assume there is a drug, you are doing post-marketing surveillance, you are getting spontaneous reports. Suddenly you get a new adverse event, which you think that might be novel. So when you are going to do the signal assessment for that, you can go back to your registries and you can check if there is certain adverse events that has already been reported with those drugs, whether to know it is a new or it's a old drug, whether to validate your signals. So registries will help you in determining the drug label, updating your drug labels with respect to pharmacovigilance. But with respect to clinical trials, I might give you an example with heart failure itself. So let's assume that I am doing a clinical trial with a drug called ivabradine, which is given for heart failure. So one of the side effects with ivabradine is bradycardia. So it's contraindicated with sick sinus syndrome patients. So if I want to choose my inclusion criteria, my exclusion criteria would be I won't select patients who are having bradycardia history. So how do I get it? So I go back to the registry, I search for patients who has heart failure with bradycardia and I exclude them. So the dropout rates from your studies can be minimized. This registry is going to helpful in clinical trial enrichment. This is one of the ways by which you can enrich your clinical trials.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I can see the questions. Pravalika is asking how many years took to complete PhD in heart failure registry. So it depends. See, in Manipal, the heart failure, Manipal PhD is just for 3.5 years. Okay, you can extend it up to 8 years. It depends on you if your project is done or not. Okay, if your work is done within 3.5 years, you can complete. So for my PhD, I chose only 600 patients from the registry. Okay, that was also registry, but I chose only 600 patients, and then it was the Novartis registry which was going on. That was not from my PhD. That was the part of my PhD, or we can say that my PhD was the part of that entire project. So I have completed my 600 projects, 600 patients, analyzing everything within 3.5 years, and I have completed my PhD in 3.5 years. So that is totally separate question. If it depends on you. If I'm planning a registry for my PhD, then I'll plan certainly like I'll be following up those patients only for 1 year or 2 years after collection. First year I'll collect the data, and for 2 years I'll be following up them, and then next the last 6 months I'll be analyzing and publishing the thesis, whatever is there, papers and all. Right. So that depends, and the entire registry which was funded is still going on. It's still going for last almost 8 years. And they are happy to giving funds. We are happy to giving the data. We are happy to collect the data. So these are two different things. So PhD duration of the PhD is not exactly related to the my registry duration. It depends. If you want, you can complete that registry in 3.5 years also, 3 years also. For doing a study based on a registry available in public domain, do we need for doing a study based on a registry? I didn't understand, MP, your question. Based on a registry available in public domain. No, see, registry studies always the patient's data. Either it is prospective or retrospective. You cannot do it like a review paper from the available data. You cannot do it, definitely. And whenever you are conducting a registry, either in the community or the hospital settings, you need ethical approval. Okay, that's very important. And CTRI. Do registry studies have different phases like CT? Not at all. No phases. For PharmD 5th year, we have 6 months of doing a project. That's not possible. In 6 months, registry studies are not working. So that kind of short registry studies will not give you anything. Dr. Virendra, it's very tough. No. You can collect the prospective data related to one thing, like, maybe the health resource utilization, maybe the what we say, maybe the prescription pattern, or maybe the presentation of the disease. One domain you can take and collect the data and represent.
Maybe even antibiotics in the hospital. How do you use it? Resistance patterns from the hospital
exactly,
can be done.
Exactly,
that's possible. Yeah, but to perform a wide range registry study for a novel finding, it's not possible. No,
it's not possible. Yes, Tejas, I think, has raised the hand.
So
Here's the caller from Money. First of all, thanks for this wonderful explanation, and I'm inspired by your journey as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Coming to my question, like if I think of starting up a registry, what is the basic requirement? Like, do I require a team of doctors, clinicians, as well as researchers, or what is the basic team requirement? And
what's your background, sir?
My background is biochemistry. Currently doing my PhD in critical care.
Okay. Sure. So let me tell you, you need a few things when you are planning for a full-fledged registry and long-term registry. There are definitely few requirements. One is, how will you manage the data, right? And if you are conducting it at one site or multiple sites, you need the resource people, okay, human resource to collect the data, manage the data, because this is not a one-person thing, sir. This is not at all a one-person thing. You have to involve multiple people, and definitely see, there is no interventions, there is no side effect profile. There you are not looking for side effects. So if you are including clinical person, a doctor or clinician as PI, it's not important. Or like they can be a part of team. Like if you are gathering the data from their OPDs, their IPDs, their things, then definitely it is needed to include them in the team. Better to include them in the team, because they can what we say, give their inputs also, what kind of data exactly you need to collect, and they will help you in the analysis also, like to give you the outcome profiles, what kind of things you should look for, right? And you need majorly, you need the people, at least 2 or 3 people if you are conducting a full-fledged registry. So the data collection people and the statistician at the end, that you can get it at the end also. But you need some people to start it. Registry is not a one-person thing at all, sir, I believe. And how to manage the data, that's important.
So, coming to my second question, like if I'm thinking of applying for a fund, which one do you prefer? What is the probability of getting fund? Is it more with government institutions, or more with pharmaceutical industry, or any other industries?
No, see. For the data collecting, or for that, you can get the clinical research coordinators, and clinical research coordinators can be from, I will tell you, they can be from the medical field, they can be from the pharma field, they can be from any field, literally. Even I have seen the people who are working in our nursing hospital, they are collecting the data from community. So they are hiring the people who have done BSc and MSc in social work. That degree is there in masters in social work. So they are hiring those people to collect the data, because they are pro in language, they are pro in knowing the social needs, they are pro in how to connect with the people, how to connect the social data, right? So it depends like what kind of audience you are targeting, and based on that you can hire the people to collect the data and to keep the data with you. At the end, anyways, you have to. At the end, anyways, you have to analyze the data, and you have to help the statisticians in analyzing the data. So major part in registry is the collection of data and data management.
Okay. But my question was the funding source. Which funding source are best to approach?
Ajit is asking funding source. Yeah.
Right, I didn't get it. So I didn't get the question before because your voice is very low, sir. But funding sources there are many funding sources for registries. Literally, I'm telling you, ICMR funds a lot of registries. Okay, in India, and there is DST, there is DBT, there is CSIR. All four you can apply for registries, and you won't believe I got the acceptance from ICMR and CSIR, which is not even the medical field, which is not even related to the medical field. This is CSIR, but they also accepted the grant. They also accepted to fund the registry, and then the Novartis accepted. So you can target any government funding agency in India. You can target any pharmaceutical company also, or you can target the international funding agencies as well, like Bill Melinda is there, and there is an Indian societies are there like Tata Fundamentals, and there is the Reliance Foundation. They also provide the funds for such studies, which are putting some kind of
UNICEF, UNESCO, WHO, they all provide it.
Absolutely.
Because right now we are doing one thing with UNICEF with respect to Northeastern India for TB resistance program. So it's been funded by them, and they do it. If it's a novel thing, and if it is something of public importance, you can always apply to international agencies.
And believe me, if it is a long-term registry and really good, impactful registry, anyone will be ready to fund. Because you are providing the data. Main thing is data. See, suppose I'm going to conduct a clinical trial. I mean, full-fledged randomized control trial. I'll be aiming only one objective. But in registry, you don't know how many breakthroughs you will get at the end. And that is basically maybe related to social habits, maybe related to your personal habits, your personal, living, your socio-economic, whatever. The basic social needs you will target in the registry. So that's how they are.
If you need anybody here need any help with respect to research grants, or we can help. Climate and DTRAS can help. We do it for a lot of people.
And any kind of suggestions, you can contact me anytime, sir. No problem. In framing the registry studies, or when you are framing the protocol, when you are registering any kind of things, if you are stuck somewhere in finding out the outcomes or the data, whatever, you please contact us.
Thank you, Tejesh. So, Ajit sir, fantastic. You took us back to medical college with your training today.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation, because it's something new that people should understand. Because everybody knows about trials, vigilance, ethics, GCP, but when you come to registry or electronic data, they are all stuck. So this is something that's it should happen in a big way in India. Everybody should have knowledge about registries, because if you go to the West, it's all very clerically done. All your trials.
Absolutely. True. In West, they are very much perfect, and they know why these things are important. You won't believe one more thing I want to add everyone here. I go to the European Society of Cardiology main congress every year since 2016, free of cost. Okay, they give me 100% registration, 100% travel grant, and European Society of Cardiology, they're conducting the Congress with 5,000 to 6,000 people every year in August 28 to 29, 28th August to 1st September. 5 days conference, sometimes in Greece, sometimes in Switzerland, sometimes in Austria. Last time I went to Spain, Barcelona, and Madrid. They conduct it, and they call me. Anyone who is expert and who is giving them the data, they will welcome, because you are giving them the data of Indian scenario. Right, you are giving them the data of Indian patients, you are presenting your data, and they especially invite to present the registry there. What are the new findings we got from our registry? Because they are getting the Indian data, they are getting how Indians are doing in heart failure. I'm so sorry, this electricity is quite boring today, and every time it is disturbing us.
Yeah, no worries. So thank you, Dr. Ajit. It was a fantastic. So any more questions or we can wrap it up, guys?
Okay, let me see. I think there is few more questions. Please share the recordings. That is totally up to DTRAS.
Yeah, it's already live in YouTube. You can anytime go look into YouTube. No
Okay.
worries.
Do we need specific qualifications and experience to start registry? Not at all. If you are a 5th year student, 6th year student, you can start the registry. Not at all. No, qualifications needed.
I think the only qualification needed to do a registry study is to understand how to do a registry study. That's
How
all.
to do it? How to do it exactly? Exactly.
So
Okay.
thank you, Dr.
So,
Ajit. It was a fantastic presentation, and I wish
Thank
you present more in the DTRAS forum in the coming days.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Of course, I can just knock your door to ask you, sir, come and present.
Arey, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Balaji. Thank
So
you, everyone.
you are going to continue your next webinar, or how is it?
No, it's, I think, I'm not sure. I'll just ask my audience. I will just ask my students. They are my permanent student anyway, so I can take them later.
Okay. So
We'll
I can
wrap
stop
up
this,
right
right?
now.
Yeah, wrap
We'll
it
wrap
up,
up
right?
right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
everyone.
very much.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.